Hi there. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the solution of the 15-marked questions in the latest mock exam. Okay, so let's start with it. Let's read the question carefully and try to understand the questions as the best as you can. The one-dimensional array clubs is used to store the name of 12 cricket clubs in the local sport leagues. So there are some key points here need to be highlighted. Clubs, which is 1D array, store the name. So from this, I know that this should be an array of string. Then how many elements are there? It stores the name of 12 cricket clubs, so it should be up to 12 elements. The two-dimensional array statistics is used to store for each cricket club the number of matches won, matches drawn, matches lost. Okay, so there are three information need to be stored for each club. Each club will be treated as one record in the table, right? So there are 12 cricket clubs. It means that this 2D array need to have 12. Let me put it down here. It should have 12 rows and 3 columns. 3 columns. Oh. Yeah. The next information is the 1D array points is used to store the total number of points in each cricket club has been awarded. So we have another 1D array. Another 1D array. Name points. For each cricket clubs, it means that this 1D array also have 12 rows. To store the total number of points, total points for each club. The position of any cricket club's data is the same in all three arrays. For example, the data in index 2 of statistics and index 2 of points belong to the cricket club in index 2 of clubs. Okay, so from this part in the question, I can picture in my mind the images of these array. In the exam, you better visualize these arrays so that you can easily imagine and relate these information together. Like we have the club 1D array, which has 12 rows. Statistics, 2D array with 12 rows, 3 columns. And the first column is one, second one for drawn, and the last one for lost. They are indexed 1, 2, 3. Points. The 1D array, which has the same 12 elements. And if we have club A in this column, this is a name, right? They have 2 ones, 11 draw, and 0 lost. And the points of them should be 2 times 12. Okay, we're gonna discover it later. Now back with this one. The variable matches store the number of matches played by each team. Okay, so this is a variable. Store the number of matches. So it should be an integer, right? And to visualize it, I'm gonna use a rectangle. For the variable, this is matches. It should be a single variable for integer, right? We cannot have a half matches, like 1.5 match. So it should be a whole number, an integer. And be noticed, each team plays the same number of matches. It means that it is the same for all 12 teams here. Points are awarded for a win, which is 12 points, 5 for a draw, and 0 for a loss. So if For example, we have clubs A. 2, 1, it means that 2 times 12, 24 points. 11 drawn, 11 times 5 is 55, 24 and 55 is 79, right? It should be a 79 here for the points for clubs A. Okay, so that's it. So now this is a requirement. Write a program that meets the following requirements. Yes, so now I'm going to copy all of this. Sorry, I'm going to copy all of this. Select and put it in my editor. And make it the comments here and get back to it later. And you must use pseudocode for all program code. I choose to use pseudocode and add comments to explain how your code works. Yes, I already have my comments here. You do not need to declare any arrays or variables. With this, it means you don't have to declare any arrays or variables have been mentioned above. Club statistics, points, matches, I believe. But I believe that for the arrays or variables you gonna use for your purpose, for your own purpose, you better declare them to make your code clearer. All inputs and outputs must contain suitable messages. Very important to notice here, suitable messages should be included. It means that with all your output input statements, you should include the prompt, the message. Okay, so back with the requirement here. First, you have to allow the number of matches played to be input and stored with a maximum of 22 matches. So it should be up to 22 matches. Validate the number of matches played. It means that the number of matches played here cannot be exceed 22. If it's more than 22, we should validate it. We should use the range check here. The range check to allow the number of match only lie between 0 and 22, right? Okay, so I'll start with the first requirement. Allows the number of matches played to input and store. So it means that for as we just discussed earlier, the number of batches is one single variable, so we should not use the loop here, just input it. But for declaration and for validation, we should put them in the loop. So I'm gonna use the while loop. First, output, enter the number of matches, and then input. We have matches, which is given in the questions, right? Yeah, now it's validation time. Validate. While matches still more than 22. Or matches still less than 0. We do not accept a negative one, right? So if matches are not valid, we need to ask the user to enter again by I do a shortcut by copy and paste this here. Re-enter the number of matches no more than 22. Yes. Okay, done with the first requirement. Now the next requirement is allows the names of the cricket clubs to be input and stored. There are 12 cricket clubs, and they need to be stored in clubs array. So now I need to use a loop for, actually the comment should be like for each club in the 12 clubs. With this, I can implement the for statement like for counter from 1 to 12. For each club, what should I do? Enter the name, right? I'll put enter the club name. I include the message. Then input. Whatever input, I will store it to clubs array at the position of counter. And next, for the next counter, next position in the club array. And after it looked through all 12 rows, right, 12 elements, we have already filled in the clubs array. The next requirement allows the number of matches won, drawn, and lost to be input and stored for each team. And we should validate the number of matches. Ask the user to re-enter. This part should include the loop until the correct the valid number of matches has been entered. Okay. To do this, first, yeah, for each club, for each team in the 12, do this for, and copy this down. For each club in the 12 clubs. For the first club, for the first team, they maybe have some won, some drawn, some lost matches, but the total number of these matches should be equal to 20 to the number of matches input above. That's why we need to validate the number of matches here and ask the user to re-enter if the total number of three kind of matches is not equal to the number of total matches input above. Okay, so now for each team we should input each of them and output enter the number of these matches, right? And then input. To store the number of one, I use 1. Drawn for the drawn matches and lost for the number of lost matches. It would be better if you declare it above. 1 drawn lost should be integer. Okay, so after we finish, like we asked the user for the number of individual kind of matches, we should do totaling them, right? And to get the total and validate them. So to validate, while the number of 1 plus drawn plus lost has been entered is not equal to matches. Do to what? Please re-enter them. Put re-enter them. And input them again. I would ask them to do this again and again. And why? If the total of matches is equal to matches, that's when the user can will not be asked to re-enter again. Yes, I just recognize that I forgot one and y here. And y. Okay, so we just finished this requirement. The next requirement calculates and store the total number of points for each club. With total number of points, you know that this is counting algorithm. Oh, it's not. Count the number of points based on the number of points awarded for each kind of matches, right? Yeah. So now, what we should do is for each club, we already know that the number of won, drawn, and lost stored in statistics. So I forgot to, yeah, we missed this part. We need to input and store for each team. So after this, after the user enter them successfully, I need to store them. So to store them, we need to access statistic at the position counter for the row for the club, right? And first column, we're gonna store 1 in. The number of won matches stored in column 1, and the number of drawn stored in column 2, the number of lost stored in column 3. That's finished. And after we finished all of them, we move to the next one. Yeah, we finished each requirement in turns so that we make sure that we finish all of them. For the next requirement, calculate and store the total number of points for each club. It means that we need to calculate the number of points and then store in the third array here based on the number of values stored in that statistics. Yes, so for each club, we need to do a calculation. I'm going to declare, you don't have to declare all of the variables you use at the beginning of the program. You can declare it right before you want to use it. So I declare the total, which is integer. And now I calculate the total, which is, got the number 1 times with 12 points, right? 12 plus with number of drawn times 5. Number of lost, okay, 0 points, so it doesn't worth to put it in the formula. And then after we calculate the total, we store them in the points array at the position of the current club counter. Yeah, store the value total in. And move on to the next one by next. And after this, after the repeat 12 times, we finish filling in all the rows in the points array. The next requirement is find the cricket club for clubs or all clubs with the highest number of points. I'll put the name or names of the winning clubs or clubs, the number of win, and the total numbers of points awarded. Okay, it's pretty tricky here. I noted out here for the highlighter. Find the cricket clubs or clubs. Yeah, this is a tricky part. You know that there's not always only one club with the highest number of points, right? For example, we have 2 or 3 clubs with the same highest number of points. So we have to find all of them. And then I'll put all of the names of the number of wins for each club that win. Okay, we say they win if they have the highest number of points. So the number of highlight. So the number of wins here for each club means the value stored in the one column for the club that one that had the highest number of points in this point array. So let me rephrase it. You look for the number of points in this point arrays. Find the the clubs with the highest mark. Assume that we have 3 clubs with the highest mark, and then we look back here to get number of 1 for each clubs that had the highest number of points here. And I'll put the name A here, and here is B, B here, and C here. Okay, so for example, if we find the 3 highest point clubs with 79, we should put club A, number of ones 2, highest mark 79. Club B, number 17 with highest point 79. Club C with the number of 1 is 6. Uh, sorry. That's my mistake. Okay, so assume that yeah, this is 79, not this one. Cannot delete it. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so we have, but I hope that you already get the points. So we have B here, right? Yeah, that's it. Back with the code. Find the cricket clubs or clubs with the highest number of points. This is the maximum algorithm. To do this, we need to look through all the clubs, right? So I copy this down. For each club among the 12, we check if points at this counter position is more than max, then the current max, the truly max now, should be this point total points, right? At this moment, we recognize that uh, actually I forgot to define what is max here. Okay, so to remember the maximum algorithm, we should always declare a maximum value and integer the type. At the beginning, we should assign the maximum value, and I will assign the maximum value of the the total number of points of the first element in the array. Or in other words, I get the points from the first element here and then assign to max. Then use max value to compare with the others in the array. And then after look through all the elements, I got the final maximum value. Now, I already know the highest number of points, but I don't know how many clubs or just one club got the highest number of points, right? So I need to look through all of them again from the beginning. For each counter, for each club, what should I do is I check if the current like total points in the array point equal to the max we just found. Then that is the club that win, right? That has the highest number of points. So if the club that win, we should output the name, right? Output the name. Output name. Then get the name from which array do you remember? Clubs, right? Clubs at the corresponding counter position. Then the number of wins for that club. Output number of wins. To get the number of wins, I should go to the statistics table and get the first column value, the first column of the counter row. So we have statistics at position counter row and column 1. This is the number of wins. Finally, I'll put the total number of points awarded. Output total number of points, which is from the points array, and I will get this. That's all, right? And then end if. For the current club, for this club from 1 to 12, I do this if I find the one who get the maximum point, and I look through all 12 of them, and I get all of the winning club information being printed out, and that's all. And here is the answer for question 10. It takes us like 26 minutes for like write the code and explanation. So in the exam, if you read the question carefully and try to visualize them and then do it, like with carefully design the solution, it takes you about like 30 to 45 minutes to complete this 15-mark question. Don't get like too long, no longer than 60 minutes. Don't waste time on this, but try to give the answer. And you can earn some marks from like add the comments to explain how your code works. And as you can see here, all of my comments I get from the question. Sometimes you can add the comment here and there, like I can add one more comments here, like assume the first club has the highest score at the beginning, right? Highest point. So that's all. Good luck.